Hello friends, and welcome back to another Styling with Sam episode. Today we are talking all about coffee tables. Now, coffee tables are usually a pain point for all of us because we need them to be practical because they are usually a very high traffic area in our home, yet they are also a very focal point, center point in our home. So we do want them to look intentional and put together. Now, I've put together a couple of different ways that you can play with some everyday pieces to make your coffee table look intentional and still very decor forward, all while putting safe things on there that your kiddos aren't gonna knock over and break or touch and whatever, throw across the room, anything like that. Maybe safe from any dogs wagging their tails, all that kind of stuff. Now, definitely trial and error at home. There is a lot of pieces in today's episode that you can probably shop your own home and find, or come into the store and we'll get you all set up with everything that you need. Or in your thrifting or antiquing travels, you can maybe find a couple things too. Hint, hint, we're using books again. So always pick up those 50-cent dollar books that you guys can use in your decorating and transform to look new and look very intentional, which is fun. So we're going to get started. I do have the coffee table pulled to the middle of the store here so we can have a really good look at it. I'm excited to get styling it. So let's get started. So typically a lot of coffee tables are kind of this long rectangular look. I know at home, I only have a very small space to work with just of the function of my couch. So I have a coffee table just like this at home. You might have a round coffee table, which we might talk about later. And you also might have a square coffee table. So for right now, I am pretending that you are my good side and I am the couch. And maybe I circle around it with a couple chairs or love seats, but I'm going to be styling this to look out towards you guys. So first things first is typically you guys would hear me say, let's grab a runner, but for coffee tables, again, we want them to be functional. So I actually opt for no runner on my coffee tables, but again, totally up to you if you want a little bit more texture on here. But I do have a little trick for you guys, and it's something new that we have in store. And I'm kind of teasing you and, sorry, not teasing you, but maybe tricking you to think that any normal placemat that is really cool and has some texture like these seagrass ones we have in store is almost a great like faux runner vibe, or something that could mimic a tray that we could put on here just to add another layer to our coffee table. So this is the first thing I'm using, and I'm going to put that, if I would to divide my coffee table in half, I'm going to have side A and side B. Now they're going to be a little bit close together. They're not going to be centered in their respective halves, but I do kind of want to make sure that they are each kind of taking over their own space in the table. So we're going to start with this placemat. I'm going to set right here. Now, we do want a little bit of height on our coffee table. Again, not much, and it totally depends on the functionality of your home. If you have tons of kids running around or tons of dogs or something like that, maybe a low vase with a low faux stem is more your style. But for today's vignette, I'm going to use our handy dandy. This white vase, you guys, is such a workhorse. It works great in so many different ways. So I'm going to style these eucalyptus stems, and again, I'm sorry guys, I already cheated and I already folded these on you, but I did fold them and kind of fluff them to the needed space, or sorry, the needed size that I needed for this vignette. But just looking here, I just kind of might fluff them to look good your way. That looks great there. Okay. I love these eucalyptus stems because they usually go with every kind of decor, and they're a great seasonal stem. So they will last us from now until basically fall. If we wanted to trade this out for maybe some darker eucalyptus stems that I might have coming up for fall, and then into our winter greenery. So this in itself could stay pretty stationary all year long and just swap out the seasonal greenery for it. Okay, I told you guys we're going to be using books, and I will say it again and again and again. Books are your best friend when it comes to decorating, especially today's modern rustic trends and farmhouse trends. So always pick up those beautiful books if you see them. You won't regret it when you're styling your spaces. Now, again, if I was to split this table in half, instead of centering this to the half, I'm actually going to move it over just a little bit. So that should be exactly, roughly about the same distance here and same distance here. Maybe I'll move this guy in a little bit. If you guys can kind of tell what I mean there about the distances. These books are great. These are our storage books. I believe we are out of stock this week, but don't quote me. And I hope to do one more stock before we close out for the spring season. But any kind of books, so any colors that kind of fit your vibes, all that kind of stuff is a great starting point for these. Now, when it comes to your books, I love to top off the book with some sort of decor piece just to really complete the look. My favorite tips right now is some sort of decorative bowl with either, it could be empty if it is a nice decorative bowl and holds the space on its own, or you could do something like seagrass balls in it, dried artichokes, moss balls, anything like that. Or you could do something simple like a big wood knot, depending on how the space kind of fills out on the books and the size of your knots. So honestly, I don't know. I'm conflicted which one I like the best. I also have this other wood bowl. A lot of it is trial and error, you guys. I don't like the wood because it's a little too close to the color of wood that we have here on the table. So you know what? I think I just answered my own question. We're going to go with the bowl with the seagrass because I feel like the wood knot, as much as it's so much lighter than this wood, I just feel like we need another texture in here, and I love what the seagrass balls are doing here. So this is something very, very simple, but again, very intentional and very decor forward, and something that you're going to love to look at all day long. What you could do to kind of, again, make this coffee table more functional is you could have something like maybe an empty, little bit longer bowl so you could toss your remotes in there at the end of the day, or you could also put in a stack of really nice coasters in this vignette so they're easy to grab and go. There's some beautiful ones out there these days, marble, really nice wood, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is a great starting point for your coffee table. Now, if I was to elevate it one more step, so let's say you might have a coffee table space in your formal living room that maybe you don't use every day and every night. So it's kind of there for when you are hosting and, you know, maybe you aren't using it as much, it's not as high traffic. We could add one more layer to here to really spice up this vignette and make it look even more decor forward. Okay, I'm going to kind of deconstruct this vignette with you guys. So I'm actually going to remove this candle. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this guy on its own. I'm going to slide these books over here. So instead of splitting my vignette in half now, I'm actually going to split it into thirds, and we're going to kind of do 3 portions to this coffee table. So all I've done is just remove the undermat there, so that way we don't feel like we need to partner that candle with the vase. It's not on its own on that mat. One thing we could do actually, and let's see how this looks here. I do have some circular mats in the store, and this might just kind of add some texture here to things. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how I like that. It is kind of close to the wood color of the coffee table, but again, it's just adding in another layer of texture. What I would do is maybe switch out the bowl here. Maybe switch out the bowl or even just leave it as it is for right now. We're going to pause and come back to that. But what I do want to do here is add another element of height. So we're going to bring in some candlesticks. Now I feel like I want to do our really nice wood crafted candle holders, but I'm actually thinking we're going to use those really nice black metal taper candle holders, and I might switch out a book for black just so we can like bring some edginess to this vignette. What do you guys think? Okay, I'm gonna go grab those things. One sec. Okay, guys, when I say I do these styling series really on the fly, I mean it. That's why I'm running around the store here, trying different things for you guys to see how it looks, because I love just kind of creating things on the fly. I don't know, call me crazy. So we're going to see what this looks like. So I brought in one of our black decor books. It doesn't necessarily have to be black matching black. It's just a darker color to introduce into this vignette. And then I grabbed our stunning, you guys have been loving these taper holders, these black ones. We also have them in gold and like a really nice silver. So we have that. So again, this might not be like your everyday living room coffee table decor. Now, with even saying that, I do have some smaller options of these taper candles. You could even chop down the candles a bit to bring kind of that down if you're worried about it being too high. These might actually be a smidge too high for this space, but again, bear with me here. And then in terms of the bowl, I actually grabbed, where did I put it? Here it is. I actually grabbed our really nice, I call this our mango wood bowl. It has this really nice texture, and then it's actually ceramic inside. So you could even use it for, you know, bread at your table, all that kind of stuff, and just wipe it clean. So I'm kind of liking this. I need to see what it looks like on on your angle here. You know what I actually might do? And again, we're kind of bringing a little bit more of a darker vibe into this. We're going to kind of play around with a few things here. The bowl just looks too big, in my opinion, on that, what am I trying to say? On those books. That's what I'm trying to say. And then I might bring in a little bit of a modern piece there with something like that. And you know what? You could even go a step further and change these out for maybe a fern or something like that. Do I have something in here that I can kind of show you? You know what? I can. Okay, hold the phone. 1 second. Okay, you guys, so I just ran around the store and tried to find something that was still whimsical and filling the space, but something that's not super overpowering for this space. So I grabbed 2 of our kind of everyday fern stems. These guys are so good. They're so forgiving. Like, they just kind of anchor themselves and look wild and messy, but still perfect, which is great. So I do like how this has kind of calmed down the vignette a little bit and everything that's on here, and kind of letting the taper candles take charge of the height. There is so many different things we could do here. You know, we could take away this rattan placemat if we're not loving that. We could scooch the wood knot over there. We could bring this back up here and just kind of bring everything back into center here. You know, we could even ditch the wood knot too. So feel free to play around, you guys. Honestly, I feel like coffee table styling can be a lot like your entryway styling. Maybe not as big and as grand of pieces, but still similar concepts where we have kind of 3 different groupings or even 2 different groupings. I really feel like it's just how you place it on the coffee table. So think about either splitting it in half or splitting it into thirds and kind of grouping everything together that way. And I also want you guys just to shop your home and see what's kicking around. If you have a really nice vase that you like, and you can always be switching things around to see what really works in your home, which is really fun and exciting. So you guys, I think that's a really pretty vignette. I'm going to come over to your side and see how we like it here. Oh yeah, that's great. I love that. Love it. So my biggest tips when it comes to other size coffee tables, so let's say you have a big circular table. So honestly, what I would do in this situation is anything big, like a round coffee table, like a really big dining room table. I keep things really, really simple. Obviously, a long rectangular one, we have lots of room to set our drinks down, put our feet up, all that kind of stuff. But let's say we did have a really big, not even really big, but just a grand circular coffee table here. We could just keep things super, super simple. We could just do something like that. Again, I love this kind of look even on a coffee or on a dining room table too. We could do something like, let's see what we got here. My little bag of tricks over here. You know, you could do something as simple as that. Honestly, it doesn't have to be as complex. But if you did have a really big one and you did kind of want to play around with some kind of vignette, what I would do in this case, and again, depending on the size of your books and all that kind of stuff, honestly, I feel maybe in this situation, what did I have in here? My eucalyptus stems. Okay, in this situation, I might actually bring out the floral and make it a little bit bigger too. So I feel like this is getting a little chaotic, so stay with me. Stay with me. But in this case, I would perhaps do something kind of just like that, with that off to the side. It could even be, actually, I think I might like that a little bit better. So again, picturing that this is a round table here, I would just condense your 2-piece kind of vignette or your 3-piece and just kind of almost stagger them in front and behind of one another, kind of like I did here. So instead of bringing this side by side, I'm kind of grouping them and pushing one a little bit forward, if that makes sense. I'm gonna come around to your side. See what we're working with over here. So yeah, something like that would be great, I think. Absolutely. And then let's say you have a little bit of a softer style. We want to bring back in kind of those really simple light and bright colors. These ferns do look great in there, I will say that. Sometimes these eucalyptus fall perfectly, and sometimes they're just a hot mess. So sometimes you have to play with the eucalyptus a bit. But that's looking great there. So yeah, something as simple as that. It doesn't have to be super complex, but again, just think of your little groupings. Usually a vase with some sort of floral stem in it is perfect. Again, you can have fun with that season to season to switch that out. Stack of books is your best friend always. Top that off with a wood knot, a bowl, an empty bowl, a bowl full of some sort of seagrass balls, dried artichokes, moss balls, all that kind of stuff. Pine cones at Christmas time, small pumpkins at fall. You know what I mean? You can have fun with that too. And then just topping things off with a really nice candle or even a battery operated candle if that's more your jam. That is great too. So I hope this inspires you guys to get moving and grooving with your coffee table at home and have fun styling. If you guys have any questions, or better yet, if you're local to me and have a coffee table, bring in a picture and kind of your vibe and your aesthetic of your living room and the space, and we can have fun in store and put a really nice little vignette together for you to enjoy at home. So hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and hopefully you're feeling inspired to go tackle your own home decor projects, and we'll chat real soon.